And here we are once again, David. Another day, another week, another podcast.
But no more
And it looks
dollars.
like we have another guest this week. We're on a streak with our guests, I have to say. And again, a great guy this week. Our good friend, Joe. Joe, how are you
Hey,
doing today?
I am doing well. Good afternoon, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Always a pleasure to interact with you in and out of the classroom, whether it's physical or virtual.
Right?
So today's topic is, again, something very different, very interesting, very informative. We're doing multimedia movies and such overlapping with video games and the themes of video games or gaming in general.
What does that mean in
So,
layman's terms?
what does that mean in layman's terms? Have they ever made movies based on video games?
Or video games based on movies?
Oh, God.
Exactly.
Growing up, video games based on movies were the worst games ever made, by and large. They were
Wait.
always disappointing.
What are you talking about? E.T. for the Atari is still the best game ever made.
Oh my gosh. I just was watching something online about the Back to the Future games, and they packaged Back to the Future 2 and 3 in one game on NES, and it was like a weird Mario clone that, yeah, it was like it made no sense to go with the movie at all. And I remember always being excited about video games that were based on movies, and they nearly always disappointed.
They
Sad.
do. Every once in a while, you'll get a good one, but for the
Yeah.
most part, just like
When they're
movies or shows based off of video games, most of the time they're not very good. But every once in a while, you get one that, like, yeah, you did it right.
I'll give a prime example of one done right.
hit us.
David should see this one coming. Our viewers should see this one coming.
Assassin's Creed.
No. I wasn't even going to go there. I'm talking about where they made a video game based on a movie and they did it right.
Okay.
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace for PC.
Actually have that game, and I was gonna pull it out ahead of this, and I forgot to, but yeah,
I remember
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that
So-
game was actually really good.
So
Yep.
there's like a bunch of political debates in it?
No.
Yeah, all you do is you sit in the Senate and you listen to the taxation of trade routes,
Nice.
and you make a decision whether or not to blockade Naboo.
Naboo.
The end.
Sounds like a great game.
Exciting.
Because that's exactly what the movie was, right?
100%. No,
But
that
no.
was fun. That was a good game. But it's funny because they released, I mean, there were various games. I didn't know where you were going to go with that one because pod racing was big.
Yep.
A big one on that one. I actually had that for the Dreamcast, the pod racer, which was a lot of fun.
I had
on
it
my
for
Xbox.
Nice.
I could
Yeah,
play
David
it right
now
now if I
has
want
it for Xbox. What's funny about that, and I mentioned this before, it was not built for the Xbox, but they made a port for it
Mhm.
that they have on the market now.
Yep.
25 years later.
Yeah. Well, it came out like a couple years ago. I forget now.
But yes, it is the 25th anniversary of Episode 1.
Yeah. Coming up this May.
May, but not the 4th because they failed.
They couldn't quite get it done in time. But yeah, I mean, we have to assume that the marriage of movies and video games started with Tron, right? I think that's what everybody pretty much
Tron.
considers
Yes.
the original.
Yes.
Tron.
That was a great movie.
David, you had an opinion.
Oh, I was just saying, Tron!
Oh, Tron! I thought you were like, maybe
No.
not.
No, I was just going,
I
Tron!
got something that trumps that.
Tron's awesome.
It's like, yeah, Tron. I think has been given. It did not. It wasn't a hit when it came out, right? It was kind of looked down upon, but I think over the years it's gotten more and more respect as for what they were able to do. Certainly, with the what we call CGI now. I'm not sure
No.
how many computers were involved in like the light cycle scene, but it was definitely ahead of its time.
Oh, yeah, it was a pioneer for much of that technology that all these
Yeah.
movies take for granted nowadays.
Yeah, but it's really, if you haven't seen it, it's about a game designer who gets sucked into his game and has to fight off the master control program and get back to the real world.
Spoilers,
And,
bro.
no,
I
I
think
didn't.
it's
I didn't
been
say if
out
he
long
does it.
enough.
I know. I was just
I know. We had this discussion earlier.
yeah in the Discord the other day. That's why I brought it
Hashtag
up.
spoilers. I know. Yes, it ends with a helicopter. Spoiler alert. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hello, copter.
And then the follow-up, Tron Legacy.
Which I enjoyed.
Yes.
I enjoyed that a lot.
I enjoyed, but not as much as the first one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I liked it and everything, and they are actually working on 3 still.
They're
so-
working on another one. Yeah, Tron.
I
Ares,
just
I think.
recently heard about that.
But there was, in this case, there was no video game originally named
No.
Tron that this movie was based on. Although a game did come out right afterwards.
Yeah, so
It seems obvious, right?
that's more
Yeah,
That you do that.
the game based off the movie category, but
Right. Exactly. They, according to, I'm actually looking up Wikipedia, and you can take this with a grain of salt, But one of the first live-action movies based on a video game is something I think we talked about in the Game Development Club, is Super Mario Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Which
Oh
was
my
not
God,
well
yeah.
received
for good reason.
for very
Yeah.
good reason. It's interesting. You have to go pretty far forward from the beginning to find something with positive reviews, whether you're looking at a Metacritic rating or a Rotten Tomatoes rating.
And
Here's a positive review from someone who hasn't even seen it. It was positively, delightfully terrible.
Wow,
I mean,
that's a headline.
your opinion doesn't matter if you haven't seen it.
I mean,
We did watch the kind of
preview
summary of it. Yes,
Yeah.
of it.
Right,
Just
right.
looking at the visuals, I think you can say
Like,
Exactly.
while
Not
I
great.
will agree with your opinion, you can't really have an opinion if you haven't seen the whole thing. You've just seen clips and whatever that, someone could have put together to, give the movie a bad light. Like, I'm not saying they did, but, like, in my opinion on things, like, if you're going to have an opinion about something, at least experience it first.
I've experienced parts of it through documentary.
You need to experience the whole thing. Because, like I said, someone making a documentary or whatever can just, like, put their own spin on something. I'm not talking about this movie in particular. I'm just talking about in general. Like, even, like, all this people complaining about new shows and stuff before they're even out. I'm like, how can you say it's a bad show if you haven't seen it yet? Kind of a thing.
Well, if it's not out yet, then I'm not going to make an opinion on it. But this one, I have no opinion. That's my hot take for this episode, probably.
Yeah,
what's
like,
shocking is that they just released the. This is a movie that actually just got a 4K physical disc release for some reason. And I wonder if it's because of the success of the animated movie from last year. But I don't know. I didn't know there were that many people clamoring for a physical 4K release of Super Mario Brothers from 30 years ago. But it happened. So
Wow.
anybody who's still collecting physical discs like myself and likes this movie or wants to keep it or just wants to view it so that they can have an opinion, according to David, you can find it. It's great.
And I've also heard that they are working on a second CG Super Mario's movie.
yes, the sequel.
Yes, Miyamoto just had that announcement on Mario Day, March 10th, Mar 10.
Mario!
Yes, it was pretty fun to watch his little announcement, and he passed it over to the head of Illumination Animation Studios, who said that they were hard at work on the second one, and that it's coming out in next year, 2025? Is that what they said?
Either 25 or 26.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's coming out in the
So-
future.
Someone can fact check us,
Yeah.
or one of you can double check it right now. I'm not too concerned. Either way, it's going to be a great movie. Like the first one, they did so good with. I do not see them screwing up a sequel.
I'm not saying they will, but you'd be surprised. There's been lots of movies that had really good first ones, and then the sequel, it was just like, what were you thinking?
2026, April 3rd, 2026 is the date.
Scheduled release date. They may get pushed back or
Correct.
advanced depending on, the world.
Production.
a myriad of factors. But anyway, yes. So that was a great one. So that's 30 years in between movies where it was not good and then it was popular. A good rendition. And I don't know what it is about Hollywood. I use that term in quotes, but
Right.
where if they're adapting something, it absolutely has to be different than the source material. And then when they do that, they're surprised when it fails.
Yes.
Yes.
So in the case of the original Super Mario Brothers movie, they went live action, and for most of the movie, nobody looks like anything from the video character. What they are in the video games, or acts like it, or really sounds like it. I think they said the only thing that matched was that Bob Hoskins had a mustache, so that sort of made him look like Mario. But it's weird, and people are like, yeah, that's totally fine. It's completely different, and so it's great. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what the reasoning is behind that. Maybe you guys know.
There's another movie
I don't
that
know.
was based on a game series where they took the loose concept of the game and made it its own movie, which I also really enjoyed. Need for Speed.
There's a Need for Speed.
Oh, interesting. I never did see that, but I have played Need for Speed.
So the movie, it's all about street racing, all about defying the authorities in that regard.
You're talking about
But-
the Fast and the Furious.
No. The actual movie Need for Speed.
I didn't know they made an actual Need for Speed movie, but
They did.
Yeah, they did.
I
They
believe
actually
you. I'm
filmed
just saying
it.
I didn't know.
It's a race across the country, basically.
Oh, so it should have been Cruising USA.
But no, it was a really well done movie. I highly suggest people watch it if you're into racing and video games.
I'm interested in one of those things.
Would you say it was better than the most recently released Gran Turismo?
I have not seen that movie yet, so I
Oh,
will
okay.
not comment on.
Don't
what
give an
I have
opinion
not
on that
seen
movie that you
outright.
haven't seen.
But I do know the premise of the movie because I have followed the Gran Turismo's game series,
And,
and I
it's also
know
based
what
on
they're
real
doing the
life
movie
things.
based on.
Yeah, it's based on
Yeah.
a real life event. It's not based on it's based on the game, but not
Exactly.
based on the game kind of thing. It's
Right,
based
yeah,
on-
right.
Like I said, I've followed all about that. Like I used to know someone who wanted to participate in the event that they depicted in the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even know that it had happened, but I saw the movie last year,
Yep.
and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, I
It's
watched
another
it.
good video game adjacent movie.
Yes, I watched it a couple months ago, and it was way better than I thought it was going to be. Because I remember seeing the previews for it, and I'm like, yeah, this looks like kind of like a dumb movie. Because, as I said, I'm not big into the whole racing and the racing games thing, so I was not that interested. And then I think it was on Netflix or one of my streaming services that I have, and so I watched it. I'm like, that was actually a really good movie. I really enjoyed it.
I think I hope they're turning around for either video game adjacent or video game inspired
Media.
movies.
Shows.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have
that sort of thing.
high hopes and high trepidations for the Fallout series that is being made by Amazon.
Oh, is that out yet?
I believe it comes
It's coming out very soon, right?
Very soon. I believe I want to say April is when it drops.
Okay.
So
I'm also very concerned because the movie, I enjoyed it, but it also didn't make a huge impression at the box office. So the show that they're doing, I'm very concerned about. Assassin's Creed.
okay. Like
They're doing a show.
Netflix. Netflix.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we all know what
interesting.
they did with The Witcher, so don't expect anything good out of it.
I mean, The Witcher started out decent, from what I understand. So, I haven't played the game, but I've seen some of the show, so...
Yeah, I will say I never really played the game too much. I've played a little bit, and for the show, though, I think I watched the first season. It was all right. It wasn't the greatest thing, but from what I've heard, it strays very far from the lore of the games and the books and everything that The Witcher is actually based on, which is one of the reasons Henry Cavill left the show.
Yeah, because he was trying to stay so true to the source material.
Yes.
And Joe, as you said in air quotes, Hollywood felt he was being difficult and had creative differences,
Huh. Interesting.
and that's why he left. When in reality, no, he wasn't being difficult. The producers were being difficult.
What would you guys, when you think of a video game movie or a video game inspired movie, what are some good ones that you actually like? That you're like, yeah, that's good. That's a good example. They did a good job with that.
Well, like I said, the Assassin's Creed movie,
Yeah.
I personally felt they did a good job with it. It
was-
was
It was all right. In
it
my
was
opinion.
basically one of the older Assassin's Creed games, but they
Okay.
cut out all the extra non-story extra material, activity, whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
and just kept it to the story itself. And in that regard, they did a great job. Do I feel like it should have just been a show from the beginning? Yes. Because when you do it as a movie, you are very constrained to the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
that's true. Most games will take at least 6 to 12 hours, maybe, to do a complete playthrough at the minimum. Where, especially the newer games, anyway. Some older ones from like the 80s and stuff, you can do in 20 minutes, but but movies and stuff have the limited runtime and stuff. So a lot of the times, I think many of these things would do better as a series, just so you can get the full encapsulation of the story and everything.
Yes.
That's a good point. That's a good point too. That may be part of the reason why they want to change it, because they know that you can't get the entire thing in an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Right.
So
Exactly.
in order to do that, you've got to make so many changes that you end up, losing the heart or what made it popular in the first place. So,
Or
name recognition will only go so far if it's not any good.
However, the one example that I'll bring up that is the exact opposite to that was the Super Mario movie that came out last year.
yes, but like I said,
That captured the game so well. It captured.
Yep.
yes, but like I said, like that's based off one of those old 80 games. Like if you sit down and can play through the whole thing, it doesn't take multiple hours to play through Mario Brothers.
Or even if it does, it's a lot of repetition, right? I mean,
Yeah,
there's not that much
Yep.
different. You are running, you are
yeah,
hopping on enemies.
it's
you are
not a
breaking up
multiple
blocks,
hour story.
It's not an open world exploring, and all of a sudden
No.
there's
Yeah.
a million NPCs that you're getting tiny bits of information from that you have to then gather in this entire lore. It's like, nope, the princess is in another castle. Spoiler alert. As you find out, but
You ruined it for me.
yeah, you're just looking for the princess.
Like
And,
that line should have been in the movie somewhere.
wouldn't that be fun?
Hey,
That could have been fun.
they have another movie.
Right, but still, like
That's true.
it would have been funny. Like they get all the way to that castle they think Peach is, and you're like, the princess is in another castle.
I was also pleasantly surprised with Sonic the Hedgehog. I thought it was going to be another bad live action.
I
video
liked the
game
first one.
adaptation.
I haven't
Yeah.
watched the second one yet. I keep meaning to. I just haven't gotten around to it. And
I
I
like them
heard
both.
I heard they're making a Knuckles spin-off series.
They are. They have. They've made it. It debuts at the end of April on Paramount Plus.
That's-
That's happening. And then the third movie is supposed to be out at Christmas time this year.
Yeah, so
Oh wow.
I definitely need to go back and watch the second one. One of our
Yeah,
movie nights.
I've not seen either one yet. So
No, I enjoyed them, but then again, I'm a Sega guy. I mean, my first console was Atari 2600, and then my next
Woohoo!
one was the Sega Master System, the SMS, and then I had the Genesis, and then after
yeah,
that, I had the Dreamcast, and then after that, Sega no longer made hardware.
Nope.
That was it. Yeah,
Did you ever have Game Gear?
I did have a Game Gear. I did.
N-
It
and
was awesome. I had like Batman. I had Sonic.
for the 30
good
minutes that the
stuff.
batteries lasted anyway.
Right. I know. It was heavy, but it was Like it was a full color, way better graphics than the Game Boy, and sold
Oh, yeah.
1/100th of the amount of units that, or even less than the Game Boy sold. But I had a Game Gear. It was great.
I
Anyway,
never
sorry.
had
Back
one
to
'cause-
movies. Back to
Oh,
movies.
boy. Back to movies.
Enough written.
Back to the movies.
Probably the first live action video game movie that I saw that I actually liked. It still wasn't great, but I thought it was good enough. Was Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal Kombat, way back in 1995.
It's good, but so cheesy at the same time.
Yes, it is. It is for sure. They didn't make it, R-rated to have the full fatalities and stuff, but I did enjoy it. Although there was another. It's weird. I don't know why they do this. Raiden was a white guy, Christopher Lambert. I don't understand why they do these things, why they cast these things this way. But I thought that was odd.
No, you mean like Jake Gyllenhaal playing the Prince of Persia?
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, we could get to that as well.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever actually
along the
watched
lines
that
of
movie,
that.
so I can't talk
I
about
did watch
but-
it, and I was like, "What does this have to do with the video game that I played? This has nothing to do." Plus,
Yeah,
casting. Yeah. But-
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the precursor
problem
to
with-
Assassin's Creed.
yeah, like, for me, that's
Literally,
problem
the
with-
game Prince of Persia was what inspired Assassin's Creed.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah,
The
from what I
original
understand.
The original Prince of Persia was another mind-blowing game for me because the fluidity with which you moved that player and him
The parkour.
running into walls
Yeah.
and climbing things and making the jumps, and you had to, because of how computers were at the time, you had to make your moves early. Like you couldn't press jump and then it would jump. It kind of like would still take a couple steps and then jump. So you had to time things
Just right.
just right, and it was cool. Or stepping on platforms to make sure they didn't, you kind of just rubbed your foot over it to make sure it wasn't going to fall from underneath you. That was really cool. That was really. I think his name is Jordan Mechner who came up with that. He did an amazing job on that game, and it was phenomenal.
But yeah, a lot of the parkour movement and some of the combat and just the overall concept is in large part what inspired the movement, the combat, the parkour stuff for Assassin's Creed. Because if you look at that series, that is what made the original games as popular as they were the core mechanics of gameplay for it.
Yeah, jumping from roof to roof and diving down and.
And
that
literally the jumping, climbing, dodging. No, that was Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Well, I have bad news for you, Tim. Prince of Persia made $100 million more than the Assassin's Creed movie. So, movie to movie, the public liked Prince of Persia more, I guess.
well, that's because Prince of Persia had Disney behind it.
I mean, you can't argue with the mouse.
I mean, you can. It's just pointless.
Not that everything they do is great. I mean,
Oh,
No.
they've had some
By-
duds.
by
For sure.
all means, yes. Especially recently, but
That's a topic for another day, unless they have a video game based on it.
there's
I
plenty
also
of
heard-
video games based off Disney stuff. You could even go to Disneyland
Yeah,
in
but-
video games.
Actually, yeah, you can.
There's the Disneyland Adventure
in Disney.
or whatever it's
Yep.
called.
Wasn't there one
Uh,
for Xbox Connect where you could walk around Disneyland virtually?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
Am
I don't know
am
if you could.
misremembering that?
I don't know if you could do exactly that, but there was some kind of you can walk around. I don't know if you could like.
When
Step
Xbox was
for
trying
step,
the camera.
You know,
I
Yeah.
remember.
yeah,
the Kinect.
I love the Connect.
Great concept, poor
Um,
execution.
I actually won a free game through one of the social media giveaways they did, and I ended up winning a copy of the Star Wars Kinect game.
Cool.
Was that one where you could move around and it would move the lightsaber? You could act like you had it.
There was a mode for that. Basically, it had a few different modes. They had some sort of racing mode. They had a Rancor stomping around mode.
Mm.
They had a very primitive, very rough lightsaber combat mode, but the one that actually performed the best, and I think it's because of other games of the similar genre, was their dancing mode.
Star Wars dancing?
Yeah. Basically take
What?
the Ubisoft game Just Dance,
Yep.
apply Star Wars skins to
Just
it,
dance.
and that's what they gave you.
That's awesome.
With some really awesome songs for it, like what was it? Rather than
Disneyland
having the YMCA song, it was the
Mhm.
Empire Today song.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, interesting.
I don't know if they changed the lyrics, but they also
No
had
screenshots.
the Britney Spears song Stronger in there. Like
In Star Wars.
yeah, their playlist was it was wild. And the character list that you got to use for it was crazy. So again, movie adjacent video game.
Yep, totally. So I never played Tomb Raider, and I haven't seen any of the Tomb Raider movies. Have you guys done either?
Both.
Okay.
Neither. I want to, but I haven't had the chance yet.
So David, if you saw the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raiders, and then did you see the remake?
I have not seen the remake. I saw the Angelina Jolie ones, and
Okay. Well, they did two. She did two.
yeah, that's why I said ones. There was an S on the
Oh,
end.
one. Sorry. Missed it.
I was pluralizing, but the mic probably didn't pick up the S at the end. But
Well, then you're the expert. So how did it compare?
I did play the games a little bit, not too much. Like I never played them completely and beat them, but like they were basically kind of like decent movies using the name Laura Croft and all this kind of stuff, but like very dissimilar from the actual games also at the same time, kind of a thing.
Okay.
Other
How
than
like you
about
said,
Resident
it happened.
Evil?
Ooh, now that's been a
100%.
successful series.
100% different from the games, though. The movies
Another
are great.
thing that I haven't seen or played, but there have been a lot of movies and a lot of games.
Does it count that I've met one of the three of the voice actors?
No, 4. No, 5.
No, I was thinking back to the panel I went to where I actually got to go up to them and talk to them at one of the conventions I went to years ago.
So the
Yeah,
voice
which
actors.
game was it they were promoting? This was back in,
Game.
I'd say probably 2010. So somewhere back in their whatever Resident Evil game they were promoting around that time.
That's a good question. Okay, I've not
They've
played
rebooted that
all the Resident
movie series
Evils.
too.
Well, this was the video game.
Oh, the video game. Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up meeting the one name that I can remember because I know him from Devil May Cry. Ruben Langdon. He was doing I think it was both voice and motion capture for one of the lead characters. I don't think who else was there for that panel. Either way, I was there for mostly just Ruben because of Devil May Cry. That's a game series that should get its own movie as well.
Which one?
I'd love to see them do a live action Devil May Cry movie.
I was just gonna ask, what do you guys think that would be a good movie or movie series? Obviously, if they didn't change too much, what games would be good?
Devil May Cry all the way. Talk fantasy, talk it'd definitely be a rated R movie. Because of language, content, the violence level, blood, gore. It'd be a really good movie. And especially if they brought in some of the actors who've done the games. Like Ruben does all of his own stunts when he's doing the motion capture. He actually was in a movie with Jackie Chan.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. I believe it was The Medallion.
Oh, I remember that movie. Been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember it.
Yep.
By the way, the Resident Evil that came out around 2010 was Resident Evil 5.
Okay.
Came out 2009, and then the gold editions and stuff came out 2010.
So yeah, it was either the convention I went to in 2009 or 2010. where it was the Resident Evil panel. I went to conventions in 08, 09, and 2010.
Cool.
So, and I saw him at, I want to say 2 out of the 3. There's one panel that I missed that I'd wanted to go to, but that's another. Wait, no, I can talk about that one.
No, you
Because he also did the motion capture work on the Avatar movie. Well, James Cameron's Avatar movie. And so they're promoting that at the so yeah, that was 2010 for the Avatar. So the Resident
When was
Evil
Avatar?
one would have been 2009. And the only reason why I can bring that bring up Avatar is back then Ubisoft also put out an Avatar video game.
Wow.
Didn't a new one just come out? Wasn't there a new Avatar game?
Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, yes.
Ah.
I still have yet to play it. I want to play it. I keep hearing it's basically just another Ubisoft game, but I don't care. I'm a Avatar fan. Like
Yeah,
James Cameron Avatar fan.
Me too. I enjoy
But
Avatar.
yeah, that was actually
I mean,
a game back in
it's just Fern Gully.
when the original movie came out that was really bad. It did not capture the movie very well.
I mean, that seems typical, right? As
Yeah.
far as the bulk of the movies that are released, you could say, are not great.
No.
And even not great on their own, and then when you try and compare it to the video game that they're based on, also not great. You know, it just doesn't match up.
Yeah, didn't they also just release a Halo series that didn't match the expectations?
Yeah, it's basically this is Halo, but in a multiverse type thing. It's not exactly the same way as Halo from the games. So a lot of fans did not like it. I believe season 2 just started, so I don't know. It did good enough to get a season 2, so there is.
Interesting.
And then
that
wasn't there
side.
also within the past year or two an Uncharted movie?
There was an Uncharted movie,
I actually like that movie.
which wasn't bad. I again had not played the game.
Yeah, I will say it's a little different than the games, obviously, because they always are. But
Yeah.
it was pretty good. Like I've played the games, and I liked Tom Holland as Drake, even though he was probably a little young, I think, to be playing Nathan Drake. Yeah.
I heard there was a cameo of the original voice of Drake in the movie.
Yeah, I believe there was.
So that was a nice little nod.
I
I
cannot
think he's on the beach or something. He gives him a.
confirm, but yeah, I believe he
nod.
was. But I said, like, I've played the games,
But I thought it
I'm
was-
not the hugest fan of them, so I'm like, I wouldn't recognize the voice actor if I heard him talking right now.
Yeah.
Probably.
But I feel like it was good enough. It was a standard kind of treasure hunter
Yeah.
movie. But it did. I was interested enough where like, oh, I would like to play this game and find out all about.
There's definitely a lot more gunplay in the games. I mean, it's a game.
Mhm.
You gotta have more things, but yeah, like
Right.
there's lots of gunfighting and a little bit like Tim was saying, like with the parkour and stuff. It's not so much parkour in the Uncharted, but like you got to figure out your way around these
Mhm.
platforming type puzzles on the map and stuff. So they're fun games.
What
I
about
would
Five
recommend
Nights at
playing 'em.
Freddy's?
I thoroughly enjoyed the movie for never having played the
Agreed.
games.
Agreed.
Yeah, I never played it either. When I always thought it was just like a mobile game thing for some reason. When it first came
No.
out, was it mobile to begin with, or was I
It was
totally wrong?
PC.
PC.
It
Yeah.
was always
PC.
okay. It was PC. Interesting.
I have a
don't know.
friend who absolutely loves that game. So I've never played it personally, but I
I've-
knew it was a PC game first.
I did play it once, and I did not survive the night. So I was like, "This is a stupid game." No, I'm just kidding.
It's the game's fault, not my fault.
Exactly.
Yeah, I actually know the lead game designer on the most recent games, so that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Neat.
Yeah. So I'm glad that the movie did well for them, and I assume they're making a sequel.
I heard they are.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
Like, that movie was really good. Okay, here's one for the two of you.
Here's
How
two for the
about
one of you.
Indiana Jones?
The Lucasfilm games based on the movies or inspired by were great. If we're talking
And
about
have you?
games.
Yes. And have you heard about the new game currently in development?
No. Tell me about it.
Yeah, Tim, tell
So
us
there
about it.
is a new game in development that is going to be a first-person, mostly driven game. It'll be third-person when you're traversing over major obstacles or climbing up stuff, but otherwise it's going to be you playing as in the first person. I forget when it's supposed to be set, but it's within the realm of the first 3 movies.
Indiana
If I
Jones and the
remember
Great
correctly.
Circle.
Yes.
Set to come out
The
this
story
year.
set in 1937 between Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade.
Like I said, within the realm of the first 3 movies. It looks like a great game. I've watched the debut trailer for it, and I'm just, that looks like if they can pull it off, it's going to be really good.
That's cool. I haven't seen the trailer yet.
And if memory serves, isn't it being made by Bethesda?
Correct.
Yeah, I think.
Well,
David, you should love it.
Publisher, yeah, published by Bethesda, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
Bethesda's like not the parent company because Bethesda's parent company is now Microsoft and all that, but I think they're a parent company of the company that's making it, so it's under the Bethesda umbrella, but it's not directly Bethesda from something I read the
Machine
other day.
Games.
Yeah.
Machine Games from Sweden is developing.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I speak of the original like Lucasfilm, like they did a Last Crusade game that was in the style of Monk. I don't know if you guys played the original Monkey Island, but they had that kind of style, and the Fate of Atlantis in those adventure style games. I loved those.
Yeah, I
They're amazing.
remember playing an Indiana Jones game back on the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, it's from
Ooh.
Wolfenstein developer Machine Games. That's right. Sorry, I'm still reading
Yeah,
about
that
the new
was.
one.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, the Sega Genesis one, I remember playing it a little bit, but to me at least, it was physically very dark. A lot of the time, and it was harder to see what you're supposed to be doing. But hey, what I do remember of it, it was fun.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's a lot of it. I was talking to someone earlier today who was the producer on a lot of big games, and he was talking about how video game companies, a lot of their budget is spent on art, and it makes sense because that's what you see, and that's what the trailers are, and that's kind of how you sell a game. Is the first thing is you're looking at it.
It is a visual medium.
It's a visual medium, yes, but if it's not any fun to play, if the mechanics don't work, if the story is not there, the art can only take you so far.
True.
It's got to be
Agreed.
fun. So even if it's you remember it being dark or hard to see certain things, but if you had a lot of fun playing it, then it has replayability and it's a good game. And a lot of times, especially nowadays with these giant games that are so open world, you only see someone's art, that's maybe super photorealistic for a couple seconds as you're running by. Like you don't even, it looks great, and then you're just going past it. So it may have taken someone, hours or days to get this tree moving just right, and you are just blowing right by it. So
Joe, to that end, I'm going to go there with Hogwarts Legacy.
okay.
I've played it, and one of the things that blew me away about that game right off the bat was the level of detail that the developers put into all the paintings in the game. Like
Sweet.
I'm one of those who will just stop and just look at the details.
That's great. See, I do that too. I love to look at and appreciate what someone has done.
Yeah.
The art that they've put in. So that's really cool. I've wanted to play Hogwarts Legacy for a long time.
It's
seems
worth it,
Yeah, okay.
but wait until this summer when they release a huge update for it.
Okay.
They've already promised they're going to be doing a bit of an update. They're saying keep your expectations small, but for that game, any update is going to be huge.
Hmm.
And if you have a PlayStation, it doesn't matter when you start playing it because you have access to the PlayStation exclusive Quest already. But for
Yeah.
anyone else, like me, I'm an Xbox user, the PlayStation exclusive Quest is going to be coming to all platforms
Then it's not
sometime this
exclusive.
summer when they release their major update.
Lame. It's not exclusive then.
Well, it
It
is
was for a
exclusive
while.
for
Yeah.
right now.
It's a limited exclusive.
No, I
But it's not exclusive
Go
if it's
ahead.
coming to other consoles or whatever.
Well, PlayStation had it for over a year, so
Still limited exclusive, not full exclusive.
did I say full? No.
No, but when
I
you
just
say
said
exclusive, you got to make sure you bring up the word limited.
semantics. So I only have a PC. So yeah,
You can
That-
play it there.
yeah, perfect. That'll be great.
Wow, I have all three.
Yeah, the
What
only
does that
other
make me?
console I have, I'm putting console in air quotes again, is the MetaQuest 3.
Ooh,
Uh,
yeah, that counts.
Yeah,
That's the only
I'm
other.
still waiting for that to be delivered to my house. I don't know why you got it instead.
I thought you were getting Jocko's version.
I'll take
He
anyone
was
I
giving
can
that to
get. I mean, like I don't have enough freaking video game systems already. A second ago, I was just bragging about,
Right,
oh,
right.
I've got all three. I've got Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
Yeah.
And I still have my
Perfect.
NES.
Well, I have my Genesis Flashback.
Oh wow.
So
Um,
that has like 50 games on it or something.
we also have
So
our
that's fun.
Genesis console as well.
Like the
Nice.
original?
Yeah, the original Genesis console, yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
loved that thing. I loved it.
I
That
will
was
say,
the first.
technically, that's my
console
brother's
I owned.
stuff, but
And that was your first? Is that what you
Yeah.
said?
Yeah.
Oh man, it was great. I hooked it up to my stereo. You know, they had the headphone jack, and so the first time I did that and was playing Sonic the Hedgehog, every other ring that you collect goes back and forth from left to right speaker, and I couldn't hear that on my TV because it was mono. You know, it was this old 19-inch color TV. But when I hooked up to my stereo and it went back left and right, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so amazing!"
Oh wow.
did it have the VCR
We
built
were
in?
so impressed with the. Go ahead.
So did your TV have the VCR built in?
No. That was separate.
Nah. Those ones were fun
But
too.
we were so happy with the little advancements
Oh,
back
yeah.
then. A few more colors, a few different sounds, a few a
And
couple
now,
more pixels.
and now today, all that stuff gets so overlooked, and it is so sad.
Yeah. And they're so I don't know if people today could make a modern game try and fit on. It would be nice if, as a challenge, try and fit your game on a cartridge, or even a CD, much less a DVD. You know,
I mean, with
well,
modern
that would be huge.
full-scale graphics, no, it's impossible. But if you're
Not
doing
possible.
a pixel art type game, or because plenty of those are still around and being made today too, so those ones probably could, depending on how big you make it. But
Right. But no, I bought Baldur's Gate 3 over Christmas, and it's 128 gigabyte download.
Oh,
Gigs.
jeez.
I was like, oh my gosh, this game is huge. And it
Yeah,
is. It's like, it's vast. It's the most vast game I've ever attempted to play.
Oh, Joe, here's one for you. You want to talk about file sizes? A remaster of the original two Star Wars Battlefront games has just been released from Aspire, and the whole package is 50 gigs, roughly.
Wow.
When you can still download the original games, and they're like, what, 5 to 10 gigs
I can tell
tops?
you because I have them in my library. I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah. So it's just like, what the heck? But I was watching a video showing the graphical
I was gonna
updates
say,
they've done
yeah.
for that remaster, and
Yeah.
it shows.
Yeah,
That's
It
cool.
really, really shows.
they've remastered all the graphics and everything, which is why they're so much
Yeah.
bigger, and probably remastered the audio and everything as well.
Yep. Everything has gotten a huge overhaul.
Where is Where's my Battlefront?
So
There it is. 3 gigabytes
you talked about how
for
big
the first
3.
Star Wars Battlefront.
Jeez.
3 gigabytes. And apparently I don't have 2. I thought it was in my library, but I'm not seeing it.
I know I have it, but I'm not turning on the Xbox right now.
Well, I'm sitting here with my Xbox on right next to me, so.
You gamer guys.
Star
Hey,
Wars.
Joe, you're with us as well. You're a gamer as well.
Star
all
Wars
gamers
Episode
here.
1 Racer we were talking about earlier. Guess how big
Yeah.
that one
Yeah.
is?
2 gigs.
Less. It's 460 megabytes.
Yeah.
Wow, not even a
There,
full
and that's what
gig.
we're talking about.
Not even half a gig.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like.
Also made by Aspire 2020, so that one's already 4 years old.
Interesting.
Well, I think that was just a simple port, not
Yeah,
a full remaster.
Yeah, like that one wasn't a remaster. It's just a port kind of a thing.
Could you imagine if they remastered that one? However, I would wager a bet that given the news that recently came out from EA, where they laid off a whole bunch of people and scrapped a couple projects, Aspire might actually go in and do a remaster of Bounty Hunter next. The story about Jango Fett, aka the host of the Clone Army.
Yep.
Like that remaster, I'd love to see. Like if they aren't going to do a Bounty Hunter Mandalorian game now, because that was what one of the projects that got cancelled was. Give us a remaster of what has already been made. And again, movie adjacent. And that's how I'm justifying bringing that one up.
Video
Or
game
any of the
movie.
Star Wars games.
Let's
Right.
see. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is 110 gigabytes.
Oh,
And that's
my
without
gosh.
the expansions. Because I don't own the version with all the expansions.
I mean, I could probably tell you, but yeah, I'm not loading that up.
I'm not expecting you to turn your game system on. I'm just.
So I'm looking and seeing what's in the works that they don't have dates yet, but they've apparently got 2 Five Nights at Freddy's sequels in the works.
Oh, wow.
A Just Dance film.
Yeah, I've heard about that one.
A Zelda film. Metal Gear. A Pac-Man film. Another Pokemon Detective Pikachu. A
Oh
Portal
my
film.
God. What?
Rabbids. Saints
No.
Row.
Stop.
Portal?
Back up. Go ahead.
If you're going to give us another a Portal movie, give us another Portal game already. Damn. I'm sorry, but again, I have a friend who is super passionate about that game, and we've been waiting for the third one for way
15
too
years,
long
what,
now.
13 years.
Jeez.
360.
Yeah.
Too long. Too
Oh,
long.
you guys talked about this last week. They're gonna do a Space Invaders film. You didn't talk about the film, but they're.
Are
talked about
they
the game.
really?
Yes, I don't know how, but
Good grief.
another Street Fighter film is coming. Ooh, Streets of Rage. Now there's another game I loved from Sega. Streets of Rage 2 and Streets of Rage 4.
I just like, what would
lot of fun.
a movie based on that be about?
Just walking around, punching people in the face, picking up knives, stabbing somebody. That's it.
Oh, so it's
So
the nightly
just
news
your
then.
ordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just side scrolling. The camera just goes from left to right and follows the person as they go.
Oh,
There you
my
go.
God.
So yeah, they're not slowing down. They're still making. I mean, a lot of this is TBA, which means it may
Yeah.
never see the light of day.
Yeah.
There's not, there's nobody attached to it. There's no release date. There's no nothing.
And
but-
even if there was a release date, even then take it with a grain of salt.
Speaking of
Yep.
video games based off movies, I have Tron Evolution that I could install on my Xbox.
Oh, wow.
Tron Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
When was that released?
2011.
Ooh. So it was kind of a tie-in with.
I'm pretty sure it was a
Legacy?
tie-in with the sequel. Yeah, I think it came out around that time.
And give
Six-
us your review.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever played it. I have
You
so
have
many
it, but
games I own that I've never played.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Like, I,
David, what are we going to do with you?
well, some of
Yeah.
them, like, we were talking. I don't know if we ever did it on the podcast the other day, but the games with gold that we used to get. So, like, I probably got it from there, and so I just never have played it yet.
Oh man, Games with Gold. That was an awesome program when it was good.
Well, I'm not familiar with this. You'll have to tell me about it.
So it was Xbox Games with Gold. You had to be an Xbox Live subscriber, and every month they'd give you. It started out as 2 free games a month, and the first Games with Gold game that they released during
Here it comes.
E3 when they announced this whole thing.
Hang on, let's see if
Was
Joe can guess what
Assassin's-
Tim's favorite game is.
It was one of the old Assassin's Creed games. I'll let you see if you can guess which one.
I have no idea. No idea.
Well, what if I said the Renaissance?
Yeah, I
I
don't.
don't know either.
I have never played Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was Assassin's Creed 2.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Games with Gold, it was 2 free games a month just for being a Xbox Live subscriber. When the Xbox One came out and got well established with games, they upped it to 4 free games a month. 2 for
Oh,
the
wow.
Xbox 360 and 2 for the Xbox One that were cross-playable, so you could download all 4 on your Xbox One.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that program for the first 5-6 years, really good games, but in recent years it was going really downhill. They're putting out really bad games for it, and they finally just ended the program.
Every once in a while they would have a decent game on there still, but yeah, you couldn't really
Yeah,
count on
well-
it to be a good game.
Yeah. That is actually how I was able to get my hands on new copies of the original Battlefront games. Is they're actually Games with Gold games once they started porting all those old original Xbox games on.
See me, I just
Because
paid
Joe,
for it.
that's something else I don't know if you're aware of, but on Xbox you can play all the way back to the original Xbox.
Really, all
Backwards.
those games, the original games, still work?
A whole bunch of them, yeah.
I was gonna say it's not
Wow.
100%, but most
No.
games from the big studios
But the fact
are.
that even most, I think that's smart.
It's so much
Yeah.
better than PlayStation.
Agreed.
Like,
Like, I know PlayStation sort of had a backwards compatibility experimental thing that they're doing, but it didn't take off the way Xbox did.
I
And
believe
Xbox,
the PS2 and PS1 backwards compatibility was much greater than the Xbox and the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility, especially at launch. Xbox has gone through more and added even more, but like when it first launched, only so many were available on the
Yeah.
360 that you could the original Xbox games.
exactly.
But on
But
launch
now-
day PS2, you could play any PS1 game you want. Nowadays, I think it started with PS3 or 4. Yeah, you have to buy the new digital edition to play the old freaking PlayStation games on them,
Yeah.
which sucks.
But now with Xbox, you have all generations. You don't have the entire library of games that were put out, but you have a good chunk of them.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So that's how I have been able to get my hands on a handful of the really old, really classic Star Wars games.
I mean, I just bought them, but they're pretty cheap. They're usually like $5 to $10 max for the old Xbox
Yeah.
versions. So if you didn't get them while they were on the thing, like they're fairly cheap to get if you're a fan of the old games and want to play them again.
I get it
Yeah.
because I always check out like Epic's game every week, and if
Yeah,
it
like-
looks good, I'll download it. But most of the time, I still haven't played any of those. So my library is increasing, but
Oh yeah, like I've got
I haven't
so many
played. I haven't
free
played.
games from Epic. Like for a while there, I was downloading them all anyway. I'm just like, yeah, I'll claim a free game. I might someday play it. And then like after, I'm just like, okay, I'm never gonna play some of these games. I stopped claiming.
Right, just stop downloading them all.
Like you don't even have
The
to
one
download them.
thing
You
you
just have to
should
claim them to add them to your library, and then I'm like,
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
do you want to
Yep.
install? No, not right now.
Yeah.
I'll just claim it. Like, so it's basically what Games with Gold was kind of like the Epic free games thing.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, that program was really cool. It's a shame they stopped putting out really good games consistently,
I mean,
but
at that point, it became a money issue. Like, yeah, we're giving away all these games that can make us so much more money if we sell them. And then that also comes into what the developers are giving them to, like, yeah, you can give our game away for this 2-week period or 1-month period and all that kind of stuff. So it's not entirely on Xbox of why they stopped having good games available.
true.
All right, so let's talk about Angry Birds the movie and its sequel. Just kidding.
Wait, did they actually do that?
Yes,
Uh,
animated Angry Birds
What?
movie and Angry Birds 2.
How do I
Oh,
not
yeah.
remember this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What?
I didn't bother to see it. I barely ever played the
I
game.
haven't seen them either. I remember
Why?
playing the game, yeah.
Yeah. I think of a certain age who hasn't played those games.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I've
They
played
were
them,
great.
but like I didn't play them. Like, okay, this game's boring after the first 5 rounds. It's all the same thing over and over again.
Oh, you
Unlike
gotta challenge
you know,
yourself.
unlike playing Skyrim for the millionth time.
You don't want to pull back a slingshot and launch a bird at some pigs
No,
again and again and again.
I'd rather just become a stealth archer again, even though I say I'm not going to this time.
And yet you always do it, apparently.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to. It's just so easy to become a stealth archer.
Oh, man. Angry
Ooh.
Birds. That takes us back a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of the killer apps for phones where everyone's like playing the same
Mhm.
thing.
Just wait till the
Everyone
Candy
has it.
Crush
Everyone
movie
had it.
comes out.
Ooh, the Doodle Jump movie.
Flappy Bird.
Flappy Bird. Did you guys see my Flappy Bird that I?
I did.
that I
I
made.
loved playing it. It was. I choose to believe that was Major
Yeah.
Incident flying to his adventure in space.
Yes, exactly. He was inside the ship.
Let's just say if
That's funny.
he was depending on me, he never made it to space.
Yeah, right. Oh,
I think the
Classic.
farthest I got was like 6. I'm not very good at that game.
yeah, it's tough. Those
I think 4.
collision detections are
Some
something
of them,
special.
some of them were like, no.
That's how it was. I don't know if you played it the original on your
Yeah.
phone, but it was
Yeah,
like
I've-
that.
I've
It was
played
like,
Flappy
Oh,
Bird
yeah.
too.
it's so frustrating, but I'm gonna keep trying it. I'm gonna keep trying to
yeah.
get further.
It's definitely one of those games that'll. It's like Tetris was like that back in the day. I'm like, oh, you get so far, and I'm like, I can get farther. I can get farther.
Did you guys see the Tetris movie? It's on Apple TV Plus.
I have not because I don't
No.
have Apple TV.
I heard
but
about it.
I do.
It was
want to
really
watch it.
good. Again, it's not 100% accurate, but
Okay, so give
was
us
great.
the rundown.
so it's about a guy who's a video game publisher who's looking for. He also writes video games, and he lives in Japan, but he's I honestly forget his. I think he's Danish. Is his nationality? But anyway, he goes to a trade show or something and sees
I
this
thought it was a
game
pastry. Sorry.
from Russia, called Tetris, and so he's like, I gotta buy the rights to this. I'm gonna go to Russia and get the rights. And it's not that easy because the guy who developed it actually works for the government, and basically
Oh.
everything that anybody produces, the government owns.
Hold on. Is this movie based on the creation of the game?
Yes,
Yes.
well, it's really about the
Oh
guy
my
who brought
God.
it to America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
getting the game released in America. It's not about like the world of Tetris and all that kind of
Yeah, it's
stuff.
not about you live in the world of Tetris and there are
Okay.
blocks falling and you have to put them in the right
It's not a Wreck-It Ralph type of movie.
live, which was a great movie, by the first one for sure,
Oh yeah,
with all of its references. That was excellent.
yeah, that was a great one.
Okay, so
Anyway,
that
Tetris is good.
helps. Like
Yeah.
I'd heard they're doing a movie about Tetris, and that was the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah. It
So
wasn't
okay, yeah, I've seen another guy who I'd love to get on this podcast, Professor Ethan Wild,
yeah.
another teacher at the JC. He teaches a history of games class,
It's a
where
good
he
question.
shows a documentary about the creation of Tetris.
Mm-hmm.
Really fascinating.
Yeah.
That game, the history of it is mind-blowing. So
sure.
if that movie that you're talking about captures even a fraction of the complexity of what it took to make that game a thing,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be really impressed.
It's more of a like suspense thriller kind of thing, so they amp
Right.
up everything. There's car chases and all that jazz. But it's
Oh,
really
I'm
good.
not surprised. I'm not
It's
surprised.
really
Like, the true story behind it is probably even crazier than the movie they put out.
But on a related note, the creator Alexei is going to be at GDC next week in San Francisco, and I'm actually attending GDC.
Nice.
So that would be fun
wow.
to see his talk or catch him walking around.
That would be
Dude,
cool.
go for it. Let us know how it goes.
For sure. It's my first one, so I'm a little nervous. I feel like a fish out of water, but I'll just go and have a good time.
So just for the record, that will be when this episode goes live.
Oh, perfect.
So anyone who's listening, he's actually there right now.
The Game Developers Conference, and I am not yet a game developer, but I am a student, so that's how I got in.
Yay for being
Very
a student.
good. Very good.
Cool.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Have fun. Enjoy your time there.
Thank you.
Take pictures, get autographs, sell them on eBay. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, yeah. Sure. Play all the new games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, let us know if there's any good demos coming out.
I'll let you know what the next big thing is going to be.
The next big thing.
Any other media related to games that you guys wanted to talk about?
I know we've mostly concentrated on movies and shows, but there's also a wide world of books and graphic novels related to that kind of stuff as well.
Ooh, so true.
And I will say, speaking particularly of Halo, for instance, the books have done a much better job than the show did of staying true to the...
That actually, in a weird way, reminds me. David,
That's my name.
I know
Don't
you're
worry
a bit of a comic book fan.
a bit.
I know
Yeah.
you're a superhero fan as well. And I know we've brushed on this subject before, but since we're doing multimedia, you want to talk about Spider-Man for a few minutes?
Any particular thing about Spider-Man you want to know?
How about the games that were based on the movies?
I liked the old ones that came out back in the day that were the Tobey Maguire movies. They were great. The games based off the Tobey Maguire movies. They were pretty good. Also, way more in them than was ever in the movies because, you're filling up a game that's going to take so many hours to complete versus a hour and a half, 2 hour movie type of thing. So, they have all kinds of filler stuff, extra missions, which gathers from actual, comic book and stuff, lore of the stuff. Like, you had extra villains to fight. Like, Mysterio never made it into the movies until the recent one with Tom Holland, but he was a big part in the games back in the day. Some of them were obviously better than others, but yeah, like...
Joe, did you ever have any experience with those games or anything?
No, I never did. I kind of after I graduated college, I got married and had some kids, and so there was a big gap in my video game playing and console playing history up until very recently. So yeah, there was like a
You never let your kids
20-year
play
gap.
video games? That's messed up.
No, they did, but they weren't like totally into them. And
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
yeah, we had a Wii and a Wii U, and they had DS, DSs, DSIs, DSLs,
Yeah, all that
DS
portable
XLs,
stuff.
3DS. I still have a 3DS.
That's cool.
Not bad. Well, then I think we have pretty well covered as much as we can for today. Joe, it's been an awesome time having you join us.
It's been an
Thanks for
honor.
having me on. This is fun. It has been your honor to have me here. I agree.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome
sure.
back anytime. Also, anytime you want to come
Cool.
hang out and chat about whatever.
Awesome.
We kind of make up our topics as we go a lot. So
All right. Hey, let's watch Tron this weekend, huh? Let's
Yeah,
do that.
let's for
That
sure.
works.
Both of them
That works.
on Saturday.
Okay, we'll do.
You better.
And for the record, everyone, that is the weekend we're recording this.
Well, yeah.
Oh, right. Yes. Not
Yeah.
by the time
Also,
it's published.
by
You're
the
right.
way,
Exactly.
if anyone really wants to know, the day we are actually recording this is Pi Day. So happy Pi Day. A week late for anyone who's listening now, but
Yep. 3.14.
3.14. Had some pizza for lunch. Had to have pie on Pi Day. It's a pizza pie.
So,
Happy Pi Day, guys. Thank you.
so with that, everyone, like, subscribe, share, comment, ring that bell, and again, thank you, Joe. Thank you, David. This has been a wonderful discussion. Everyone
welcome.
listening, have a great day.